I'm looking at. And I just wanted to talk about transitional statements that I want to share with you. And it's going to be sharing the screen. So I hope you can see my screen. Today's video is all about transitional statements. Transitional statements are done by Australian Education Research Organization, or IRO, IRO, and it's based on evidence research. So because you are members, you are going to get this video first. I am going to create a recorded video as well, but I think this will benefit you for many reasons. Transitional statements are fabulous. So we have first resources about what transitional statements are, what's research behind it. So you can read all this to add to your professional development as a teacher. You also can definitely benefit from all the information on this website. But I'm here actually for a different thing. So for educational early childhood education and care settings, or ECEC. And in particular, I want to talk about learning trajectories. So this whole website is about transitions to school, transitions from primary school to secondary school, but we are working in early childhood education and care, right? So that's why we are going to talk about early childhood education and care under 5. And this is the part of this website, edresearch.edu.au, where you will like to use some of their resources to create better observations and planning, and not just formative assessment, but summative assessment as well. So I honestly think it's fabulous. Why it is fabulous? Because you are looking at not just 5 domains of learning like we know. Yes, physical, emotional, social, language and communication domain, yeah, and cognitive domain. We are looking at all this holistically, but at a different angle. What do I mean by that? They look at executive functions. That's number 1, if you look at my screen. Then they look at social emotional learning, or SEL. Then they consider mathematical thinking. Yep. Then language and communication. And then physical development. So learning trajectories, they describe child's progress in a single domain. Yeah. But they're also designed to be used in interconnected ways. So you can see that you can focus on one thing, such as executive functions, or you can focus on mathematical thinking. If your inquiry is about mathematical thinking, for example, if I would do inquiry project in early childhood education and care, I would love to choose either language and communication, for example, learning to scribble and write, or mathematical thinking. And then I will definitely benefit from learning trajectories with that. So a single experience within any early childhood program may support progress in multiple domains. And I talk about it all the time. Create holistic experiences that are fabulous and target all areas. And because domains are interconnected, even now Certificate 3 in Diploma of Early Childhood Education and Care talk about it, we are assessing holistically as well. And you need new language, right? So you cannot use developmental milestones. The document is a little bit outdated. What you can use is EYLF, and you see they can have a link here to the EYLF. If you click, it takes you to the EYLF, which you can download. Yeah. So I'm going to download it to my desktop. Yeah, it's okay. And then You can look that it's aligned with national quality standards, specifically 1.3, assessment and planning. So they also will contribute to QIPs, or quality improvement plans, especially for quality area 1. Now I want to show you introduction to these learning trajectories. So if you click, you can watch the video, what they are. Yes, so this...
The Australian Education Research Organisation has released a suite of evidence-based
you can see
resources
that
which offer deeper
it
insights into the
all
building
this
blocks of
research, and they
children's
can see
learning,
the this
development and
is
well-being.
building.
The early childhood learning trajectories can be used to support children's learning and development from birth through the years before full-time schooling. They support educators and teachers to plan for what's ahead, deepen analysis of learning, and offer a common language.
So yeah, anyway, so there is a transcript here, and you can see that they introduce 5 domains. So what I want you to do first, to familiarize yourself with each of the domains. So for example, let's start with executive functions trajectory. You can watch the video here, because this video outlines child's progress in executive functions, which you can use along with early years framework planning cycle, which I made video on. And you will see that this domain includes 3 subdomains, yeah, that we know as higher order thinking skills. If you're following Storykate, you know that higher order thinking skills emerged from Vygotsky research and social cultural theory. Vygotsky was saying that children need to develop lower functions first to move to higher order functions in terms of thinking, and language facilitates this a lot. Yeah, so it's a very long process when children move from simple functions to higher order thinking skills, but we definitely need to support this. And modern neuroscience talks a lot about executive functions when it comes to behavior guidance, when it comes to self-regulations, complex information, memory, thinking, problem solving. So as you can see, working memory is quite important for learning. It enables brain to retain and use new, increasingly complex information. So this is what's happening at schools, right? So when child recalls details of the story that you read together, they can then retell the story and then write an analysis of the story, or use the story structure for their own story. Child might take turns, and this requires them to wait and wait impatiently, but with more and more, I guess, managing of their impulses. Yes, so eventually they will learn to control their impulses more. But all children under 5 struggle with taking turns, not to mention sharing, because that's a more abstract concept. Cognitive flexibility is another important one. So it's brain's ability to switch perspectives and reinforce learning through code switching as well. You can see that we multitask. And for multitasking, when we focus on one thing, then we focus on another, we need this cognitive flexibility. So if you know developmental delays, they didn't mention any of that. They didn't mention inhibitory control. They didn't mention executive functions. So this is more advanced language for your observations. So, and you can see that each subdomain of this one domain, which is executive functions, has strengths and indicators. Strengths, like in Australian curriculum, strengths, and indicators can help us to see if child is close enough to achieving that or not. So what I particularly like about this is that it's about capabilities that change. Children learn and develop. So it's not like tick boxes kind of resource. It is reflecting modern approaches to assessment. I encourage you to read this resource, yeah, which you can download. And here we are. So we're gonna view this tab. Yeah, That's the one that you are seeing as well. Just checking if there are no questions. Yes. So you can see here executive functions. Yes. So what are executive functions? There are three of the subdomains: working memory, inhibitory control, and cognitive flexibility. Yeah. Then they talk about how these skills continue to develop through early years. And they show you how to use this learning trajectory. So you see indicators that you might use in your observations word by word. You know, I'm all for saving time, and I'm all for learning best ways to observe. So I encourage you to research this document and start applying it today. So what can you use? If child shows interest and focused attention towards people or objects for short periods of time. Toddlers and children who are like under one, babies, they show interest and focused attention, even if it's for 1 second. They do. Add it to your observations. Next one. Use different sources of information, language, visual, or spatial, to guide their actions. So you can see that initiate actions in response to basic vocal, visual, or spatial cues in the immediate environment. So this goes into your analysis part of observations. But what you really will see, that babies turn their head towards the sound, recognize their name, and that means that they crawl towards you by initiating actions in response to basic vocal cue. See? The next one, reproduce, reorganize information and apply it across contexts. If you know EYLF as well as I do, you know that it links to outcome 4. Children are able to transfer knowledge from one context to another. So, and this is what's happening here. Child imitates actions and sounds they see or hear in the immediate environment. So, for example, if the cat says meow and the baby is trying to say meow, yeah, or the dog says woof woof and child says woof, or doggy woof, they imitate sounds of the dog they see or hear in the immediate environment. Yes, this makes like so much easier. You didn't know what you observed before, imitation, and it's about executive function, and you see now that it's part of working memory. So this gives us much more advanced understanding of development without going back to big books on development. And of course, there is a continuum, as you can see, changes as child develops and grows, right? So they recall simple instructions. For example, we're going to put your bib on, and then we're going to eat. Or how to wash hands. First, you need to go to the bathroom, open the tap, put the soap on your hands, and wash. So that's already multi-step instructions, sequences. And they are able to do it with prompts. So that's a good analysis there. So I really like color-coded system here. I really like how it gives you language to add. And when you do the planning cycle for each child, you can see that you can review the same action and add different analysis because child moved to the next step. If child remembers increasingly complex sequences of words, such as a poem, pictures, or actions independently, then you can add this to your analysis, and that means that they retain increasingly complex information in their brains for longer time. Yep. Finally, if it happens simultaneously, they can keep multiple pieces of information in mind and begin to use simple strategies to remember. For example, they can use their fingers, or they might draw, or they could see that people sometimes write things down, make notes, tie a knot, right? That means that child moves to increasingly complex retention in terms of working memory. For executive function, you will also see inhibitory control, which would be amazing for behavior analysis. Print this page, and when you analyze child with behavior issues, see how they move from stop some behavior in response to request or pause some behavior, and then shows full self-control in most situations with occasional automatic or impulsive responses when they are tired. This is really great, isn't it? So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 ways to describe it, right? And this gives us really great language for analysis. So you can look at cognitive flexibility as well. I'm not going to go through it. And you see here the opportunities. This means that you can add these opportunities to your goals. Yeah? So, for example, to support child's inhibitory control, I will play games that encourage children to wait, persist, and resist temptation. For example, hide and seek, or singing songs during mat time, or wait times in routines. I will engage children in experiences involving turn taking or paying attention to suppressing reactions, such as Simon Says or red light, green light. Here you go. So these are learning trajectories. I encourage you to download user's guide. That's a very important one. Yeah. Download this guide. Read about evidence base. Yeah. So what the research is behind it. And of course, download the assessment and learning tool, which will help you to use this tool in your kinder. Yeah. So there you go. I hope this was helpful, and that's working. The camera is working. I'm very happy. I hope I'm looking at the camera now. So I want to say thank you very much for watching, dear members. Your support is valuable for me. I'm going to make more videos for members only. And you can always ask your questions by emailing me on storykate@storykate.com.au or messaging me through the Instagram DM, or Facebook, or just posting in now members posts. So I post members post all the time. Also, don't forget that I'm approaching 5,000 members. So I'm looking forward to giveaways. So post any of your responses because that would be really valuable. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.